7:34 now. It is a scary prediction, and for many Americans, they don't want to think about it until it's too late. The government says right now it looks like money for Social Security will run out by the year 2035.
So it's what you do now that can save you come retirement time. And with 5 things you should be thinking about right now, we have Joe Murray from First Financial Group. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Oh, this is 26 years away.
Just plenty of time.
You know what? A lot of people are going to do that. You know,
they
we
will.
don't have to think about it. So it's, as you say, it's about taking control because the government won't.
Correct.
So the first thing we want to do here is look at your risk profile and then reallocate the money. All right. How do we do that?
Well, first thing you do is you first off, if you have a retirement plan, go onto your retirement plan website. A lot of them will have that risk profile analysis for you to complete there. And then just go through that risk profile to determine how comfortable you are with certain types of risk. That, in turn, will lead you to how your money should be allocated. You have to be very careful with this because there's a thing we call the sleep factor. If you were really uncomfortable for the past year, you were probably allocated improperly.
Okay. The next one, we're all guilty of this one. I think 44% of Americans have taken money out of their 401ks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. How much should we really be putting away here when it comes to contributions?
You know, that's one of the best questions I've heard in a long time, and the reason for that, the reason for that is because unless you know how much you're going to need on the other end, you really have no idea how much you should be putting aside today.
So what do we do?
So what you have to do is, well, number one, is put away as much as you can into your retirement plans or into investment vehicles to help you have that cushion when you do retire. Next thing you need to do is go back to what I just said, is you have to take a look at that risk profile and allocate the dollars properly.
Okay. Third, use automatic rebalancing. All right, how does that work?
Automatic rebalancing is really important. That's what helps people make it through up and down cycles in the market. An automatic rebalancing is, hypothetically, let's just say that my investment portfolio says I should be 60% in equities and 40% in fixed income. That percentage never stays the same. It changes on a daily basis. So regularly my portfolio rebalances, which means that if my equities are now up at 70% of the value of my portfolio, my fixed incomes are down at 30, it sells out of the equities at a profit and buys fixed incomes on sale and brings it back to that 60-40 number. Well, over the past year, it works the same way. Keep in mind how the markets went. Fixed incomes did perform a little bit better than the equities did. So as the fixed incomes went up in my portfolio, they would sell out at a profit, bring it back down to where it should be, and bought the equities that's on sale. So as this market starts to change and starts to grow and get back to normal again, my portfolio is substantially larger than it would have been had I done nothing.
Okay, I need you in my back pocket because I can't. I don't understand.
Did that sound like blah, blah, blah,
essentially,
blah, blah?
But it just sounds like you know what you're talking about. The next one, you said coordinate your risk in your retirement plan, I guess with other ones. All of these things, it makes me think that I need somebody to help. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, Joe Murray.
Yeah,
Chanel
and we're
Jones.
trying to help you guys
Hi,
out.
I'm Joe. How are you? It's a pleasure meeting you.
Will you be in my back pocket? Go ahead.
Well, here you go. A lot of people will have an investment that does well. Let's say they'll pick a mutual fund in their retirement plan. They'll say, you know, this is really doing well for me, so I should probably have this outside of my retirement plan too.
Ah, okay.
So what they do is they don't diversify. By not diversifying, they're actually increasing the amount of risk that they have by not making sure that they're looking at the same. It also will overburden that risk profile. It's going to make it where they have more money invested in one particular asset class versus another. So you need to take a look at both of them. We call it a global asset allocation. We take all the pieces, put them together and say, okay, here's how I need to be across the board. Very important.
All right, finally, make a plan and review it every year. And here's my question I'm curious about. All right, say your average return, you're hoping to get like an 8% return every year.
I'd love to get one.
But let's say I only made 1% last year. Am I always going to be behind?
Well, I mean, based on that fact, I would say you're going to be way behind.
Way behind.
Yeah, that's
but how do you make
plan.
that plan so you overcome the losses of the previous year?
Well, what you have to do is you have to take a look at, you can never overcome that loss of the previous year without getting extremely risky in your investment style. So you have to make sure that if your risk profile says you shouldn't be that risky, don't do it. You're going to regret it significantly. But what you really do need to do is you have to take a look and say, okay, when I want to retire, whatever that time frame may be, however many years I have until that time comes along, how much am I going to need at that point in time? What big pile of capital will I need? Where's my money going to be coming from? What income sources are available? You mentioned earlier the Social Security is going to be kind of gone in 2035. That's probably going to keep coming down even more as time goes along. Yeah, I'm sorry to say that, but it's the way it looks. So if that's the case, you need to know how much capital you're going to need to have, a pile that you're going to need to have. Then you need to know, well, based on my risk profile, how comfortable am I with certain types of risk, and that's going to give you an average percentage return that you should get. So based on that average percentage, you can now back it in to say, okay, at that percentage over this many years, here's how much I have to put in. So it's kind of a profile type of a plan you have to look. It's fairly comprehensive, but you have to do it.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're making great points, because it's one of those things where we all hate to think about it, especially, if you're in my demo, the young professionals, we've got a while to go.
Yeah.
You don't want to think about it, but it's there.
Well, most people don't want to think about it because it's rather unpleasant at times, but you don't want to get that surprise, because that's what's really happening now, is that people, when they're coming to that retirement age, are starting to look and saying, well, I really don't have as much as I thought I would have. My retirement's going to have to change. That's a terrible decision to have to make. So you need to do it so that you have an accumulation plan, and then you have to establish a retirement income plan. Where are my sources of income going to come from?
All right. Hope you still come on the show when we're 80 and still working here.
That's fine. It'd be great.
Good day, Philadelphia.
As long as it's handicapped accessible, I'll be here.
We'll take care of you. Thank you, Joe. Joe Murray from First Finance.